What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome to another episode of CGX Talks. We have Jerry from CGX. How you doing, sir?
What's going on? It's good to be here.
Hey. So big news, man. It's like
Yeah,
it doesn't stop. We still in January, just so
I
you
know.
know.
Last
And yeah,
day, an hour more for me, and then we're February 1st.
yeah, what a great year, in gaming. Again, we had the Activision, Microsoft deal that just took place, and you're hearing about Sony and Bungie today, man. So just want to know for you, what's your take on this news? How I know you follow, Sony. I know you follow Bungie. So what's this news like to you?
It's it's not super surprising for Bungie for this to happen. I mean, Bungie's got a pretty good relationship with Sony as it is. They've had the timed exclusives for quite a while now, and things like that. And Sony, we know they've been up to some things, and it would make sense that they would announce purchases like this before like their next change to PS Now or PS Plus or whatever happens with that, because I think everybody's gearing up for content. So not super surprising. It's also not surprising that they're saying this will stay like multi-platform. I don't think in the long run, or at least in the short term, this isn't going to affect really anybody and where they game or play Destiny or whatever the case. It's gonna stay. It's going to stay multi-platform, and that's what Xbox has been up to as well, right? Like Warzone or EOS or ESO, Elder Scrolls Online. Those type of service games are staying everywhere. Minecraft stayed everywhere. So that's a plus. That doesn't mean everything Bungie creates in the future will go everywhere. I'm sure Sony will get more return on this investment eventually, other than just access to their proprietary tools and staff and team and knowledge and that type of thing.
I have a question for you, right? Why do you think this acquisition happened? What do you think Sony's trying to get from it? What do you think Bungie's trying to get from it?
For Bungie, it would be pretty easy. That they've been talking for a long time about wanting to expand into new IP and be a multi IP company and have many different games out there. So they need funding and space to do that. And if Sony can provide that, and they've had a great relationship with them, that would work out for Sony. And of course, they're going to get access to a bunch of things that Bungie has, like I said before, with their team and their tools and things like that. But also, I think the root of everything is, right, that all the companies like Microsoft and Sony especially are trying to get content ready for their future games as a service type of deal. We all know where we're headed, just like TV before. We're headed to that, apps and cloud and consoles and everything as a service. The subscription is going to like cover you everywhere, right? Whether you're on your PC or your console. And I think PlayStation's going to do that same thing. I think ultimately that's the big thing. All the acquisitions you're going to see this year are probably geared toward gaining content for that games as a service.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. This article from Game Industry Biz is quite interesting, but because they were stating here, something that Sony does have is, again, they into like movie productions, right? And Destiny is a huge franchise. Halo, right? This is a show coming out with Halo. Do you think this was like another deal for Sony getting Bungie, like creating a show or a movie? You see what they're doing with like Uncharted, right? And this talks of like Ghost of Tsushima movie being in the making, right? So do you think this was another reason why they gobbled up Bungie to maybe have like some Destiny spin-off show or a movie?
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential for that, right? Because you're not only looking at building content for your games as a service, but you're right, Sony being the entertainment and movies and shows company that they are, why not? Why not get that? And I don't know if I would want a Destiny movie per se myself, but I would love a well done, high production value series, ongoing, a few good seasons. With the Guardians and stuff, and I think they could have a heck of a good show. So yeah, why not? It would definitely give them access to that and the ability to recuperate more of that investment too.
True. The other thing the article was stating is the fact that Bungie has experience with just the online space, right? They've been doing Destiny for a long time, and Sony, I think, is trying to tap into the specialties of creating a game like Destiny, right? And this article was stating that they're good, right? Sony's here saying they're good at creating single-player focused, story-driven games, but as far as like the multiplayer aspect of things, that's not the strong point. So by them acquiring Bungie, right now they have the devs, Bungie working with Sony, and so like pushing multiplayer IPs in the PlayStation brand. I think if Bungie can help out with that, like they can create some really cool multiplayer games as a service type game moving forward. But
Yeah.
what's
Yeah,
your
I think
take
so,
on
and
that?
that's actually a good point. I hadn't thought about that because it's another thing that everybody's doing, especially Xbox and PlayStation, is kind of packing in where they're weak.
Right.
So I mean, Xbox was weak for a while in a lot of ways, but they were always known as the shooter box, right?
Yes.
Especially in the 360 days. So it made sense when they got Call of Duty.
Exactly.
But Bethesda, ZeniMax brought them quality first-person campaign
Exactly.
type, games, and so
Yep.
filled that. And for Sony, they had the opposite problem,
Yep.
where they have great high-quality single-player games, but they've lacked in multiplayer and competitive and that type of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, they would benefit greatly from having access to Bungie and that team to help other studios. And I think I read in another article today that that's something PlayStation was talking about, that Jim Ryan said was Bungie will be right alongside our other studios to
Exactly.
help them out.
Exactly.
So definitely.
Yeah. So we talk on the podcast the importance of like exclusive content, right? People thought like that's not needed, and
Right.
like you were saying, with subscription model going forward, and these companies seeing the importance of that, especially like with the success of Game Pass, right? Do you see this move as like, again, we know this game's not going to be exclusive, but think about like future 10, 20 years down the line when Bungie's creating another IP. I'm sure that's going to stay exclusive, but do you see this as a move that Sony's making to kind of secure more IPs for their subscription service moving forward?
Oh yeah, 100%. Look, it's going to take a few years, right? All of this investment is long run. Like
Yeah.
this is a marathon. These companies are starting to see where we're going to be in 2025,
Right.
2028, 2030 when it comes to gaming, games as a service, subscriptions, cloud, more powerful local hardware, all of it.
Yeah.
And Xbox was the first to really embrace that, right? And kind of jump on that vision. Game Pass was made fun of quite a bit,
Yeah.
and it's when it first got announced, and but it's quickly becoming one of the most successful things Xbox has done in a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. I think that I think they said the next 3 Call of Duties will be multi-platform.
Yeah.
That's kind of the contract. I think Bungie said games currently in development that will be released in the future will be multi-plat, but those
Yeah.
are the ones currently in development, not new developed games, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think in about 3 years, when we
Okay.
get past a lot of these contracts and stuff, there'll be certain content that become exclusive anyway, but there's going to be, I think, a 2-3 year period here before you start to see that real war of exclusive on our subscription service.
Yeah.
Just like it used to be on our console, you got to come to our console.
Yeah.
It's going to be you got to come to our subscription service.
Subscription.
That's no matter where you play it,
Yep.
PC, console, on your phone,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It'll just be come to our service.
Exactly.
Console wars have been over for a couple of years now.
Right. So true. So true. But what does this mean for cloud as a whole, right? Again, we talking about like the importance of your having exclusives, IPs, and you've seen all these big companies getting swooped up, right? Again, Bethesda, Activision, and now Bungie. Do you see, first of all, Sony acquiring more? And what does this mean for cloud? What does this mean for the future of gaming as a whole to you?
I think you'll see more acquisitions from all the big 3 this year.
Yeah.
Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. Nintendo won't be as big on their acquisitions, but it
Yeah.
might be little important ones because they like to farm out some of their IPs every now and then, and if it works out, they're like, how about we just buy you, and keep you here. So Nintendo's comfortable, they're fine, but they'll probably make some small purchases. Xbox and Sony, I think you see a lot more. I think you see many more billions be spent this year gearing up for that war that is coming. Like we talk about, we're in the content war now. No, we're in the purchase war right now.
Yeah, exactly.
The content war is coming in 2 to 3 years, and it's really going to get hot next year. For cloud, it means a lot because games as a service means games everywhere now, right? Yep. And cloud is a big part of that to push games everywhere. Yeah. That means PlayStation and Xbox are going to have a lot of pressure to eventually offer a really good cloud experience.
Yeah.
It's going to help push that technology faster.
True. So just speculation-wise, I agree with you, right? Cloud is coming up, and like you were saying, they're gearing up for the content wars. But I just want to know for you, who do you think is next on Sony's radar to get acquired? Or matter of fact, who do you think is Microsoft, Tencent? Who do you think is going to make the next purchase, and like what company do you think is going to do it?
I've been really up in the air about this. I know people have been throwing out Capcom as one. I always lean towards Sega.
Yeah.
I've always thought since they left the console space back when I had my Dreamcast, and a Saturn before that, but hey, none of it lasted. Yeah. I always thought when they went software only that eventually they were going to become somebody's first party IP, and it just never happened. And I feel like this year Sega, that could happen with Sega. It wouldn't be Nintendo, but it would be Sony or Microsoft.
Yeah.
I think it would be Microsoft, and I think it would become You Answer to Phil, and the games are coming to Game Pass, and I think, but and Microsoft has much deeper pockets than Sony for gaming right now. I mean, real deep pockets. I was looking up some of the stuff. I'm like, these numbers are just, no wonder they can go spend $70 billion and be like,
I think the market cap is at $2 trillion.
$2 trillion.
How
with
insane.
over 130 billion in cash available on top of that. And it's like,
it's insane.
They could still buy whatever they wanted to buy. Yeah. So the fact that they bought Blizzard Activision for that amount of money and made that statement, I can tell you that whatever deals were happening before, they're probably getting sped up and more are being talked about. But my question, really, I would even ask you, because you were in cloud before me with a lot of this stuff, and you were on the ground floor with like Stadia and other things. Like, I've been saying that the likes of like Stadia and Luna and whatnot will be in trouble when the big three get serious about it with their content, with their money, with their tech. Do you think other cloud companies or platforms could be in trouble as Sony and Microsoft and maybe even Nintendo get into this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think personally, yes. Honestly speaking, I didn't see Sony, really competing. I always actually counted them out because they don't have the pockets like the big three have, right? Again, these three is in that trillion, and like we were saying, Microsoft at $2 trillion, market cap. But this move shows me that they want to play ball, like they see the importance of it. But yeah, so here's what I think. It's now a race. We've given Amazon Luna a lot of slack previously because they have Prime membership, again, almost 120 million plus members. But realistically speaking, if they don't have the IP to back up the service, like we said, content is key, right? So in the future, when the content wars begins, right? If they don't have the content to back up the service, they're going to be in trouble. No matter if they have 120 plus members, right? If you don't have the games, like for instance, Stadia right now, right? If you don't have the games, people are not going to want to game on your service. It's all about content. And these companies have to start acquiring ASAP. I know Amazon has the first party studios, but realistically, so did Microsoft for a really
Yeah.
long time. And you see where that got them is hard. Like the
Yep.
celebration of the success of New World, Jeff Bezos tweeting about it. It's hard to create a new IP and, form a new studio. So the easier route, I would say, is acquiring this already established studios, and they're going fast. Okay, in the last 2 years, we've seen three big companies get acquired, and again, we know that Microsoft is here with the wallet's open, waiting to acquire more, and I think Sony's here to play game too. So the days of like sitting back and chilling, relaxing, and not being aggressive with acquisition is gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think Amazon and Google, they gotta. So Google is, I'm really concerned because Amazon still has the first party studios, so they can create cloud specific games. But like with Google right now, they don't have that. They're not acquiring studios, and I'm just like, if content is key going forward for these services, like what differentiates you from your competition?
Right.
That's what concerns me. And honestly speaking, I say 2022 is the test year for Stadia, because again, we're gonna see more of these companies getting purchased, and if we don't see them be aggressive this year, then I think that tells a lot of people how committed they are. Microsoft has made the statement, right? They're willing to put 70 billion on the line to say, hey, we in this, right? We gotta see Google and Amazon be as aggressive, and right now we're not seeing it from either
Right.
or. So that is very, very concerning. And last thing I want to say about this, I think Microsoft took some of the wind out of their competition. Again, they said Google and Amazon the biggest threats and competition, and I think this move is a statement saying we see you guys, and you gotta put your money where your mouth is now. You gotta play hard ball. And yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they respond, if they respond. But it's they are in trouble. They are, because these companies left, they're not gonna be left for a long time. And it's time sensitive now to get serious about gaming. But yeah,
Especially when you're getting into a newer niche or tech like cloud. And you see even with platforms like Stadia how initial thoughts or feelings or experiences or whatever really impact the platform for the long term. That happened with Xbox, it's happened with PlayStation before, and it happened with Stadia. And it's not just about the amount of money, it's about just making moves. And I've said before, for Stadia, I always thought the best option was to go the Nintendo route, which was completely stop, don't try to compete with everybody else like you came out saying you were going to do, and go make your own awesome thing that everybody wants to come play or be a part of. And that would spur some kind of growth or, like you said, purchasing already established publishers to do that. But I think that's what they would need to do.
Another company we haven't talked highly about, but it's going to be interesting to see if they make moves this year, is Facebook. I know we joke around with
the metaverse,
but like it's going to be quite interesting to see how committed they are too. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually make moves before Stadia and Google does, right? I see like 3 months down the line, Facebook saying they acquired EA or something, or
I wouldn't be surprised to see Facebook's hand in some acquisitions this year. We'll find out how serious they are. I know Microsoft wants to be known for gaming and kind of put a stop to a lot of the external competition in gaming, but just like I said for Stadia, it could be that Facebook creates something that's so radically different that it also doesn't compete or necessarily take away. They could have their own thing. So we have yet to really see where they're going to head with that. But just like Microsoft, if they decide to throw their full force at it, you're in trouble. If they decide to go for something, they're going to go for it.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what their market cap is too. Like, what's Facebook?
Yeah, I was just trying to think. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see. Facebook's stock.
I don't look at them as much for gaming. Like, I'm not used to even paying attention to it, but soon enough. I'll have to.
Yeah, they're sitting at 839 billion, so they're close to a
Pushing a
trillion.
trillion, yeah.
So they,
That's
you know, they got
they've
money
got some weight they
to
can throw around,
to.
and some persuasion. So
Yeah, but cool, man. So just want to talk about this news and again, just connect it to cloud gaming and see how it relates. And I do think there's a huge connection here. And again, it's going to be quite interesting to just see what happens throughout the rest of the year, who's going to get acquired, what company is going to, you know, be as aggressive as Microsoft and Sony being. But I just want to say shout outs to Sony because honestly speaking, I counted them out, right? I was like, I always view Sony as like a Japanese traditional company.
I'm glad
and
you said that.
Yeah,
because
like,
I wanted to put this quote thing out there from this article from IGN for
Yeah.
Jim Ryan,
right.
and you would never hear this from PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
He was basically said that his ambition to grow their live services has now gone beyond their historic console heartland, right?
I saw that.
So that
yeah.
so I was like, well, wait a minute. Like
Yeah.
PlayStation's actually saying, okay, we are about the console, but guess what? We're about to change it. That's a big
I love
deal.
it.
That statement, yeah.
I love it, and that's what they need. And you know, maybe Jack Ryan might be the Phil Spencer. You know, that beacon that, you know, sparks change as a whole. So it's gonna be quite, yeah. That was my biggest concern. I was just like, they need, if they continue depend on consoles, depend on you know, exclusives, they're not going to survive. But this move tells me that they see what Microsoft sees as well when it comes to subscription. And again, this even has me more excited for Spartacus than anything now, you know, because I'm seeing that they see the value of this and they see where the future of gaming is going and they want to be a part of it. So this is really exciting stuff, man. So
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
man. Well, seeing how all these companies want to reach more gamers, granted that makes them more money, right? But it
Yeah.
also benefits all of us. So you know what? If
really
it benefits
does.
everybody, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Competition's great for consumers, and they're spending all that money, doing all that work, you know, sweating bullets, and we here just reaping the benefits
Exactly.
of it, man. It's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I used
But-
to hate game subscriptions, but honestly, now they're getting to the point the value's there, man. Like most of them are pretty
yeah.
good. As soon as Sony revamps that and comes up
Oh
with a
my
good
goodness.
PlayStation sub,
My
I'm on it.
goodness. I think a lot of people are gonna be on. Imagine just being. I don't know if this is gonna happen, but just they got killer IPs coming this year with, you know, God of War and, you know, Horizon Forbidden West and Gran Turismo. Imagine if you don't have to purchase a PS5 to play those games. I mean, count me in, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be saying the same thing. So let's see what happens. But
Definitely.
great discussion, man. Always
Oh, yeah, man.
good talking gaming with you, Jerry from
GCX.
CGX. Gotta get used to that. But yeah, man, more of these to come.
Yeah, I have a
appreciate
hunch
it.
we'll be having these discussions more this year as
Yeah,
as more acquisitions happen. Definitely,
yeah, it's a lot going on. But appreciate you, man. Well,
definitely.
talk to you later, man.
All right, man.
All right, thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.